Hello and welcome to part 4 of our MiniArt Miss M3 Lee with full interior build. So as you can see here, we've got some parts. Here's our interior, which I've already primed up, and that's ready for the white to go down, which I'm going to do very shortly. And this is the two sides, which we're also going to get painted. And we've got some of the bits and pieces that we finished off in the last video in part 3. So they'll be able to go in today, and we should get all these parts in here today, get these glued on and have all this done in the white and ready to go on to the next step, which is building the engine. But we'll get all this completed, including these parts here we've got to put in as well. Okay, so let's get going with this. Thank you all for tuning back in again. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and your comments are welcome below. And let's get on with this. I'm about to go now and put some paint on this, and we'll come back and have a look at that and see how it comes back. It will be the Tamiya white, just the flat white going on all that. And yeah, let's take a look when it's done. We'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I've just come back in from painting these up, and it's looking pretty good. Paint went on really well. Yeah, the side panels are done. Just on the inside, I haven't done the outside. That'll obviously be a different color, but just for the inside. I made a bit of a mistake, or sort of. I couldn't see what I was doing too well out there, out on my balcony where I paint. The sun's very bright, and I was spraying, and I realised I was putting it on too thick, and it was starting to run a little bit on the back. I thought, oh, that's no good, obviously. But it turns out it's not a problem, because it's a tank. It's not like you're doing the bodywork on a Ferrari. You know, having a bit of paint run's not going to harm anything. It happened in the back here where it's not going to be seen anyway. It's all going to get covered up. But other than that, it's looking nice. It's gone on real nice layer there. Same with these. I'm happy with them. Like I said, I sprayed them less than an hour ago, so I'm going to let them dry completely before I start putting on our pieces here. And then what I'm thinking of doing is then doing a clear coat over it all on the interior. Just because it's going to have to be weathered and everything in the not too distant future. I'm going to need to do that anyway. Haven't decided whether to do a gloss clear or a flat clear. It's probably going to need to be just a flat clear. It's not like I've got to worry about decals or anything like that. A little bit of touch up on the seat. That seat on there needs to be done black. I can brush that later. But yeah, it's come up good. Alright, so I'll come back when this is dry, and we'll fit all those little accessories into it. Okay, back again shortly. Hey, welcome back. So I've got quite a bit of the parts done here, as you'll see. So there's all our shells there. It looks like a jerry can on there. There's our fire extinguishers in there. I've got all the parts all in, all glued. I'm just struggling getting my tape to stay down, because this was quite a tricky bit to fit on the side here, okay, because I need to glue that on and do the other side as well. And the main problem with it was that getting that seat in, that bench with the seat on it, it's really tight fit, and you got to get it. Yeah, it's hard. So, and I don't know why this tape is not sticking down. It keeps peeling back up. So I've got it all held in place. And I'm going to run some glue along there to glue it all while it's in place. I've got a peg on there clamping it, but it does fit. It does fit fine. Everything's exactly as it should be right now. But once I started test fitting it, it got to the point where, all right, I've got it fitted perfectly now. I don't want to take it off. So I didn't record myself putting this on, but you just got to make sure it's down, it's pressed down onto the points on there, it's all pressed in, that this point here is located properly, and the same with up the other end, and especially with that these side pieces we added, they have to sit flush with the wall. Once they do, you know that piece is in there straight and we're good to go. All right, so yeah, it was a while to get it all on there, and the tape is there to just hold it in place while I'm about to go and glue it now. And then I haven't even tried the other side yet, but yeah, so the seat's in. We've still got these two little, I don't know what they are, but they go either side of that seat on there. They're easy to pop on there. And then once the other side's in, then I can clear coat. I'm going to do a flat clear coat right through the whole thing, and then that will let me do a bit of weathering in there. So, all right. So yeah, while this tape's holding, I'm going to start gluing this, and we'll come back shortly. Hello and welcome back again. So I've got the other side on, and I've just taped it on, and I've got the glue drying. It went on much easier than the other side. I was a little bit concerned down here when it didn't seem to want to sit flush, but once it all went in and I pressed it all properly, it's all good and everything is in there just fine. You just have to be a little bit careful around the top here. Make sure that's all pushed in firmly, and that this part slips underneath there. All right. Okay, so once that's in, it's good. I'll be able to take that tape off in about 15 minutes once that glue's set, and that'll be done. So that's excellent. And so what I'm going to do now is I still need to put the back of the seat on. Okay, there it is there. That'll only take a second to do, put it on the driver's seat. And then this seat here just needs these two, there they are, those two little pieces added to it. So they'll go on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear coat all that inside before I attempt to put these side skirts, I guess you'd call them, that go something like that on each side. Okay, because these still have to be painted and everything, but I think these can go on without painting because it's all part of the exterior. Okay, but I do want to get all that clear coat in there so I can do a little bit of weathering and fix that all up. Okay, so it's coming on really well, and while that's clear coated and drying and so forth, in the meantime we're going to move on and start on the engine and get some parts off the sprue for that. All right, so I'll be back doing that shortly. Hey there, back again. I'm just taking the last of the tape off that supported this while it was being glued, and that's looking pretty spot on actually. Yep, that's gone on perfectly. Everything's lined up. That back quarter panel's lined up too, which is good. I didn't even have to glue that, but I will drop a bit on the inside there. So, but other than that, beautifully fit. So, very happy with that. Like I said, I'm working on the engine, but now I need to go and clear coat in here, don't I? Or actually, I haven't put these on here and the back of that seat. I will do that right now, but I will just show you what I'm working on while that's happening is the engine. Oh, sorry, there we go. So I had to clean up all the pieces where it came off. That piece in there is just a bit of sprue, which is pretty silly. I don't know why, but I'll leave that there because that could become something to grab onto to hold this while I paint it. We'll see how it progresses. So I'll leave that in there. Doesn't interfere with this part, and this part simply goes in the center like that. It's keyed in, so it only goes one way. And then I just want to show you also, I'm about to take this piece off. Look at this. Look at that, would you? Look how many connection points there are around that. Every single prong, just about. Well, it is actually, has a connection to the sprue. That's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Considering there's little pieces like this that just connected a lot more insecurely. But anyway, so that needs to come off and put on, and then we go on and we do some really tiny pieces. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to take this off the sprue now, this piece, and then in the meantime, first thing I should do is put these on so I can clear coat the interior of that. I will do that. Okay, we'll be back again in a sec. Okay, welcome back. So the interior has all been clear coated now. All right, so I did it with a flat clear. It's dried. I did this last night. It's now the next morning, and it's come up really, really good. So that's all done and ready for the weathering part. Now, for the weathering part, I don't know if I mentioned it in earlier videos. I'm a little bit restricted on the products I have, so I'm just going to have to make do with what I got. But I do have accent Tamiya Panaline black, and I have one for this, which is a brown, which are basically really thinned down enamel paints that you can use as a wash as well. Excuse me. And using the X20 enamel thinner helps me clean up any excess or add to the effect. And the idea will be to go in there. There's what those parts in there look like, sort of like cooling radiators of some sort with fins on there. So I would probably do those black. Whereas most of the other areas around here, I'll probably use brown. I'm really just experimenting. I've never done this before on an interior, so I don't want to make it look too grubby, but then I don't want to look brand new either. So I've got to compromise. I have I've got plenty of cotton buds to use. I mean, I've got more than that, but you know, small ones that don't have too much of the not too fuzzy. I'm going to have Icky Sticky micro brushes, applicators to apply this, and for cleanup, as well as these, which are really thin tip brushes for applying little spots, even to the point of like marks where the paint's been scratched off on the corners of bits of metal. Okay, that's the idea for that. I also have the Tamiya Weathering Master. So here we've got soot and rust, so that'll be handy. The snow we won't really need, but these two for sure. And now also the back of the vehicle here is where our engine's going to go. So a lot of the floor and the back in there won't be seen, and that's probably where I'm going to start doing all the washes and stuff, because I can make a mistake and it won't really matter, you know, so I can experiment in here before I hit the parts that are more visible, because our engine is going to sit in here and take up pretty much all that space. And this can also be fairly dirty too, so I don't think I could overdo it. All right. Then talking about the engine, which is what I'm putting together at the moment. Let me get that over here. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've made a start on the engine. I've glued these parts on, so that's sort of like the, how can I say, it's like this. All right, so I've got these parts off, and I've got it up to this stage without painting anything. Now this here, they want that to be number 10, which when you look at the paint guide is actually, where is it, number 10, and I need my glasses on because I can't see a thing. Sorry about the light too. It's the sunrise is happening here in the morning, and it comes through the windows and lightens up the place. So number 10 is grey. and that's what that piece there is supposed to be. But you literally can't see this at all. It's going to be completely covered, and so will a lot of this engine. All of this is going to be done in black, but I do want to get in there and detail a little bit of it up. I mean, not a lot will be seen once it's fitted, but the bit you can see, I do want to detail. So we'll have a look at what paint options we can do this, and probably even a bit of dry brushing just to highlight some of the cylinders and details in there as well. All right, so we'll see how that goes. And then there's these parts here, these tiny little pieces which have to go all the way around the outside, and they're very delicate. And I think they're a different color as well. I'm not too sure on that. I think maybe not. No, they're also black. All right, so once I get those on, I can do all of this and spray it all one go as black, and then do a little bit of detail work on. We'll come back and we'll watch all that happening. But yeah, like I say, that going on the top of there, well, actually it goes on that way. All right, you won't see that at all, but I'll still paint it, of course. Why not? You know, we always need practice. Okay, so yeah, I'll get these parts on, and then we'll come back, and we might get to see a bit while paint drying, a bit of a start on the weathering in this video. Okay, all right, I'll be back in a sec. Hey there, back again with a different camera view. Just want to show you how small these parts are. So there's one I've already put on there. I've got 9 of these to go on, and they pretty much just have to be placed like that on there, and that almost went on first time which was a miracle. Let's try this again. That's it. That's it. Alright, one thing I've learned is if it's right the first time, don't poke it. Alright, and then we just go touch very gently there, and that'll just wick its way around until that's on location. There we go. That's 1. That's 2. Okay, 7 more to go. Work our way all the way around, and then we're going to come back again and put pieces on these which connect onto that. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. So as you can see that's already lined up with that, like that one did there. Okay, so it's going to look good. Very nice detail. But yeah, so I'll keep working around this. You don't want to watch me do all of these, and I'll come back when we put the other pieces on, which are those ones there, and they'll have to be very carefully taken off the sprue. I don't want them to break. So yeah, there is an extra one. There's 9, and well, actually, yeah, there'll be five of these when we need. There'll be 10 when we need 9. So I do have 1 if I need it as an extra. Anyway, all right, I'll continue on. I'll be back again in a sec. Right, so here we are again. I've put all those other pieces are all on. You can see them there, in every second location. Now we need to put these smaller ones in with the little extensions, pipes on them. All right, so these need to go in obviously the other spots. So we've got to place that on there like that, which that went down well until I touched it too many times and it fell off. All right, now I'll put this one on again and we'll touch it with some glue straight away. Just get this properly. There we go, and try and pick it up. That would help. There we go. Okay, here we go. There we go, that's on there. A very small touch in there like that, and we'll just position it a bit better like that. Okay, now what I'm finding with, because I've already done one, is that the pipe, this piece here, is just a fraction short, although that one looks a bit closer, that looks a bit better. The other one was a little bit too short to reach the other side. Absolutely nothing I can do about that. Everything is in the right location. This one seemed to fit okay. So what I'll do now is I'll just touch that in there. There we go. And that one's done. Okay, so you can see that there. That one reaches fine. So I've got to work around, do 9 of these, so I've got another 7 to go. Another tip is when you're taking them off the sprue, okay, I'll hold it where you can see, you want to, it's not too hard to clean up the little bit of sprue that's on the side of there, but getting the piece that's on the pipe, you want to be very, very gentle. Alright, be very, very gentle with that. Alright, because that'll break very easily. And the best way to do that is to put a brand new blade in. Alright, and it's just much, much less pressure, and you can just clean up those bits and take your time with it. Okay, alright, so I will continue on and without breaking any, and mind you, we do have one extra one on the sprue, so that's not a problem. Okay, I'll be back when these are on and we'll have a look at it. Cheers. Okay, we're back and we've finished the painting of the engine. So that is done in the, I ended up going with dark iron. Okay, so that's XF84. All right, XF84. I think that looks better than the black. It's going to get darkened up anyway when we weather it with some black panel line and stuff, but I think that looks really good. And then here's the top part of it. Well, that's the part that will connect. Look at all the detail in that. That's going to sit on there. But first of all, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint these in the aluminium. We've got XF18 flat aluminium, so that should look good. And once I've hand painted them, I'll put them aside to dry, and I'll get these ready to paint as well. These are more pipes that will also be done in the aluminium, so I'll get them painted up as well, and then we'll come back as we're about to attach all of this, because then we'll be up to step 23, which is putting on the bracket, which is part of the supports for the engine when they go in the back of the tank. Okay, so yeah, it's coming on real good. All right, I'll be back in a second. We'll have a little closer look at it when it's all painted up in the aluminium. Oh, and also after that aluminium, we're going to clear coat as well, probably with a flat clear. Yeah, okay, back soon. Okay, back again, and now we've got all the parts painted up. There's that bit there, that's the only part that's white. I've done these parts all black and the rest of the aluminium on the piping, which will all go on this and this. Okay, so I'm going to put this all together now, and then we'll take a look at it before well, the next step will be to clear coat it so we can do a bit of weathering. Okay, all right, back again in a sec. Okay, welcome back. So the engine is all put together, okay, and I've just test fitted it into the engine compartment there. Now it's a very tight fit, but it does fit. That's the important thing. Takes a bit of maneuvering to get it, because it doesn't sit completely straight up and down. It sits at a slight angle, back a bit, and that sort of makes it a bit deceiving because there's these engine mounts at the back there that there's two little pieces that need to sit on. All right, that's no problem when you realize that they sit there. Okay, what I'll do now is I'll show you on the instructions here. So if we look at the instructions here, all right, it's pointing to these pieces. So on this bracket here that we put on, this one here, okay, you've got these two which are like engine mounts. And then when it comes to fitting it in, right, it's got this, right, and that's the first thing I looked at, going down and fitting into the back there, right? So I thought, okay, no problem. And then I realized that how the hell that doesn't fit because there's not enough space. It's like 10 mil almost, or 5 millimeters, way too much. There's no way in the world that mount is going to sit on there. But then if you look across at this mount here and look down, it's actually got it mount going onto there, much further forward in the engine bay. Okay. Now what's really difficult to see in the instructions is that there's a little dotted line going behind that mount that's actually pointing to the mount on the other side at the back of the engine. All right, but if you don't notice that, then you're thinking, well, that's not going to fit, but it does. Okay, so those two mounts on that bracket are the ones on these forward mounts on the wall here. There's another two mounts on the back of the engine that mount onto those more to the rear. Okay, it's just this is a bit deceiving and it puts me out and I'm thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Another thing I noticed when I went to install this part was that, and let me just fix the camera because it's not clear. There we go. Right, so when I went to put this piece on, it wasn't fitting flush with these four locating points. I thought, what the hell's wrong here? These parts here seem to be touching on here and holding it up. And I looked over across here and I thought, oh, maybe it's curved and it's bent in there. But that doesn't seem right, you know. And then when I looked at it more closely, I realized that it looked like these parts were upside down because it was the wrong way around. But what it turns out was that these pipes, the exhaust on it, going way back to here, these were on the wrong way around. I don't know how I did it, but they still fit in there with FA12 and FA11 round the other way by accident. They still managed to fit on there, but they were completely wrong. And that's why I had problem fitting the rest. So I had to take these back off completely, along with this that I'd attempted to glue on, realizing it's not fitting properly. And then when I swapped the two exhaust pipes around, then this went down and sat on there. Okay, it was fine after that. So another slip up. So there we go. But there it is now. It's in there and it fits. It just needs to be pushed back a little bit here. Like this bracket here needs to come back a little bit further. So I'm just going to take it back out, which I'll do right now. This just slides up and out. You'll see that this little piece on the back here, right, even though there's a hole in the wall on the back of the compartment there, you see that hole there, don't try and push it through that hole because it won't fit. Okay, these two brackets will support this, no problem, but it won't go through that hole, and that's fine. It's not, I don't think it's meant to. And those are the two rear engine mounts in there. There's one there and one there. And that's where these sit on either side. Okay, you can see that there. Okay, that and that. They sit on those mounts. So once you line that up down with the bracket and then line those rear brackets down, then these two should line up with this bracket on the wall here. You can see it there, and this one on this side. Okay, and at the moment they don't, because as you can see there's a little bit of play in it there. All right, so I need to glue that down. I think maybe because the piece was actually bent a little bit, and the same on this side, see? So I need to glue them down. And once they do, they'll sit level with those supports on either side. Okay, so there we go. Pays to test fit. It really, really does. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll glue them down and I'll clamp them and make sure they're secure. And then after that's done, I've made a little bit of mess in there with the glue, having to pull parts off and re-glue them. But it adds to the effect on the engine, you know. I mean, there's going to be oil leaks and so forth, and I've got to weather it up. So what I'll do is when that glue's dry, I'm going to go over this with a clear coat, probably a flat clear, and then when that's dried, then we're going to start to dirty this up a little bit and do some weathering with the panel line wash, and doing it a bit and getting it looking a bit better. And then of course then we'll be up to the part where it goes in the engine bay, but we can't do that yet because all that's going to be weathered as well, but we'll be able to practice on this first. So there we go, and that has got us right up to when that goes into place. That'll be the end of step 26. So we've covered quite a lot in this particular video. But the engine bay, there's a lot more stuff to go into it. Let me just adjust the camera and I'll show you what the next steps are going to be. Okay, so in this video alone, we've got steps 19, 20, 21, 22, all done eventually. These were the ones that we put on the wrong way around. So just be aware of the position of this, where these brackets are, you know, and everything, and where they're going in, because if you don't get them right, it'll still fit and it'll be wrong, and then you'll pay for it later. We've got step 23 is done. That's all completed with all the little pieces on there. This was done earlier before we painted the interior of the engine bay. So step 25 is done, and step 26 is where we're at now. And now to look on to the next video, because it won't be in this video, we'll finish this video up now. There's much more work in that engine bay. There's this whole page of brackets and piping and yeah, all sorts of bits and pieces to go all around on the engine bay. Even over here we've got more. There's another panel going on the side there, heaps of pieces there. So yeah, quite a lot on the engine bay. But that'll be in the next video. All right, so thank you all for following this far, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, join if you'd like, and give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, good one. Bye for now. Cheers.